So how does deskilling kind of play a very important role in terms of workmanship? The durability of tiling material, the client will spend an X amount of money and put in, a particular product, but how to know that whatever you have chosen is a durable product, or, what are the different factors that decide this particular? A tile is only as good as the skill of the tile layer. And workmanship or skilled labor is a serious issue now in the construction industry, where it's difficult to find skilled labor. So what are these issues that can crop up while laying of tiles, and what are those things that contractors and people involved in the industry should pay attention to? Welcome back to CQRA Quality Dialogue. This is where we talk about quality of materials, of processes, and tools in the construction industry. We have the quality expert himself, Mr. Ujwal Kunte, who is the founder and managing director of CQRA, to decode quality for us. And this is your host, architect Shruti Hussain. Mr. Kunte, we were previously in the first part of this segment, and now we are in part 2 of the segment. We were discussing the quality of flooring tiles. And in the first episode, we talked about the different types of tiles that are there. We talked about ceramic, vitrified, and porcelain tiles, and their different aspects. But what tends to happen is, contractors, developers, even architects, users, end users, they tend to focus on the aesthetics of flooring tiles. But now, in this episode, we will look at the peculiar characteristics that actually decide the quality and the experience of this flooring material. So we'll talk a little bit about, understanding what are these physical and other properties of tile.
Yeah, so Shruti, in our last episode, we talked about different grades of tiles,
Right.
categories. The B1, which is the highest, where you have porcelain and high quality ceramic tiles, B2 and B3.
Right.
Okay, so when we are selecting these, there are certain properties that we need to look at. So one is the surface quality of the tiles. Okay,
True.
second is the scratch, resistance. And third is the modulus of rupture, which is also breaking strength.
Okay.
So how much load that tile can carry.
Very important factor.
Very important, yes. So when we look at the surface quality, a tile is likely to have some inherent defects in its manufacturing, because it is heated to a very high temperature and then it is cooled. So during this process, because of the variable cooling, you may have little bit of bends or warpage in the tiles.
Okay.
Okay, when the even the dimensions could be little in few different.
Okay.
So when you're having these large tiles today, when you fit them together, you will not have a flat surface if they are having bends. You'll find it very difficult, and especially if you're not using spacers.
There'll be undulations.
Undulations.
Okay.
So at edges you may find one of the sharp edge coming out, or one edge protruding. So if you walk barefoot, the user is likely to have a problem.
True.
So that is very important. Secondly, scratch hardness is also very important, because there are various, you're moving furniture, pointed things could be on the flooring. So normally you have three different classes of hardness.
Okay.
One is so we measure the scratch hardness on Mohr scale.
I see.
So B1 category, which is the highest, should have a scratch hardness of 5 and above. And B2 has a scratch hardness of 4. And B3 has a scratch hardness of 3. So which is the lowest.
Okay.
So obviously, where you're going to have high wear and tear, heavy furniture, likelihood of heavy furniture, movements, you should use for B1 grade, where you have a higher scratch hardness. And the same thing holds true with your modulus of rupture also. So it's about the load carrying capacity. You have heavy loads which could be dropping on the tile, or rolling loads.
Yes.
So I would say that all these three properties should be checked, when from the technical data sheet of the tile manufacturer.
Okay. Makes sense, because we have all kinds of applications, commercial spaces, industrial. So in those scenarios, these factors really
should be
play a big
considered.
role, right? The other factor that really comes into play when we talk about flooring tiles, since we are always in physical sort of contact with that material, is about the slippages, or the resistance to kind of
Slip risk.
slipping. Yeah, slip resistance. And even manufacturers have this coefficient of friction rating on their tiles. So how to make sense of these ratings, and what is a good rating, what is a not so good rating?
Very, very important,
Hmm.
because you have old people in your house
Yes.
and you find, instances of fall,
Yeah.
and especially when the floor is wet,
Hmm.
and then there are certain wet spaces also where you are likely to slip.
Right.
So this thing is given very high importance in
Mhm.
foreign countries. This
Yes.
this is seeping in right now, in our country also.
Yeah, and we have enough incidences of
Incidences, true,
accident
true.
in the bathroom.
Yes. So basically, what we call is you get a R rating, ramp, slip resistance.
Okay.
So we measure the slip resistance through a test which is called ramp test.
Okay.
So where the tile is kept at an inclination of an angle,
Hmm.
and they put either some oily substance on it, and a person is made to walk on it with certain footwear, specific footwear,
Okay.
and the angle at which he starts slipping is measured.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
Or second type is that you put water and barefoot you try to walk, and angle at which again you measure at what
Mhm.
angle he starts
You
slipping.
can no more,
Walk.
walk on the tile. Okay.
Yeah. So based on this, the slip resistance is graded as R9 to R13.
All right.
So R9 is the lowest grade.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
so it is very, very risky. R9.
Right.
So it should
Okay.
be very, very selectively used.
Mm.
R10 is better than R9. Okay, so
Right.
R10 should be used where you're likely to mop the surfaces, but
Mhm.
essentially they will be dry.
Okay.
Okay, and then wherever you're having kitchens, toilets, or terraces,
True.
which are likely to remain wet, you should have R11 rating,
Okay.
and R11 or R12. And there could be open spaces, open to sky, public spaces,
Right.
where
Yes.
slip resistance becomes even more important.
Yes.
Important.
Yes.
And you could have swimming pools. So you should have
Mm.
R12 or R13 over there.
Mm. Yes.
So
Okay.
it is very important to check the slip rating of your tiles. It is there in the technical specifications.
Right.
So choose a slip resistance very carefully.
Right. That's a very important kind of factor that people designers need to pay attention to. The next important thing is stain resistance. Since anything, I mean, the tile surface, since it's flat on the floor, is susceptible to any kind of liquid material, anything falling on it, and it can then compromise the aesthetic quality or even the usability of the tile. So how important is stain resistance?
So stain resistance is very important from customer point of view.
Hmm.
You could be in kitchen where certain turmeric or materials like turmeric can
Right.
fall on it,
Yes.
or there could be some ink falling somewhere,
Mhm.
some color.
Yeah.
So there is a specific stain resistance test, and there are stain ratings. So
Okay.
there's a type 1,
Hmm.
type 2, and type 3 stain
Right.
resistance.
Okay.
So type 1 stain resistance is something where if there are specific staining agents,
Okay.
so if you put them, you can
Mhm.
mop them with a dry cloth.
Okay.
Okay. Stain 2 is that you cannot wipe that stain with a dry cloth, but you need a wet cloth to mop it.
Hmm. Okay.
And third is you need a cleaning agent for mopping it.
Okay.
So ideally, in kitchens you should have only type 1.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And other spaces also.
Mhm.
And somewhere you may do with type 2, but never go for type 3,
Right.
from long term use
Yes.
perspective. But a lot of people don't pay attention to this. I had one of my developer friends who came
Okay.
to me, and his entire flat holders were complaining that even teacups or ink, that was
Ah.
not getting removed.
Okay.
So it was such a big problem that he had to replace those tiles. So he went to the tile manufacturer, and the
see.
tile
Okay.
manufacturer showed him the purchase order that the stain resistance was type 2 mentioned. So
Okay.
probably the purchase officer didn't know the different classes of stain
Ah,
resistance,
okay.
and purchase order did not give the proper requirement.
I see. Okay. So even the officer himself was not aware. Probably is a technical person, but didn't pay attention to this very
Yeah,
important thing. And that actually then impacted the
correct.
marketability or probably
Of the
the
product.
of the product and even the brand value of the developer himself.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, a small thing can have this kind of a cascading effect. Interesting sort of example. Next is also the durability of tiling material. The client will spend an X amount of money and put in, a particular product, but how to know that whatever you are chosen is a durable product, or what are the different factors that decide this particular
Yeah. So
quality?
typically a good tiling material should
Mhm.
give you a life of at least 20-25 years easily.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
by meaning life, I would say that it should retain its original color, luster, and appearance.
Right.
Okay,
Mhm.
so what happens is over a period of time, durability, as we say, there's a temperature variation, moisture variation,
Yeah,
all these things
definitely.
comes
Yes.
into picture,
Yes.
and they affect the surface quality as well as the inherent material itself. So there's
True.
something called crazing resistance. So
Ah, okay.
over a period of time,
Mhm.
you will have very thin hairline cracks appearing, on the
Yes, on the
tiles
surface, which
surface, and they will
okay,
spoil the beauty. So it is important to check the crazing resistance of
okay,
tiles.
okay.
Then second aspect is chemical resistance,
Mm,
resistance to household chemicals. So
I
these
see.
days people are using all kinds of cleaning agents.
Yes.
So day after day, year after year, if you're using it,
Mm,
the tile will start losing its luster.
I
Okay,
see.
so there is
Okay.
a resistance to cleaning agents also.
Uh-huh.
So there's a
Okay.
grading. There's a double A, B, C,
Mm,
D gradings. So typically you should have double A or A grading, for your household resistance to household chemicals.
okay.
So these two aspects are very, very important
Right.
for
Okay.
long-term durability.
Yes, yes, that makes sense, and I think that's also another aspect that now people need to read the labels on, these kind of
Absolutely.
products. Also, we've spoken about the type of tiles, materials as such, but a tile is only as good as the skill of the tile layer. And workmanship or skilled labor is a serious issue now in the construction industry where it's difficult to find skilled labor. So, what are these issues that can crop up while laying of tiles, and what are those things that contractors and people involved in the industry should pay attention to, so that you don't have issues or snags related to the laying of tiles?
Normal workmanship error that we come across is hollowness of tiles.
Okay.
So there's a specific method of measuring hollowness.
Mhm.
There's a hammer, special rubber hammer,
Right.
and we strike the tile in four corners and the center. And
Okay.
if we get, more than two or three, hollow sounds, we
Mm.
consider that tile is hollow.
Right.
So
Okay.
you should have, so when the tile is hollow,
Mm.
there's a possibility of it delaminating, you know
Right.
then the sometimes, yeah, when you're walking, you will find the tile little bit of a movement on some tiles.
Yes.
It gives you very uncomfortable feel, so
Right.
that is
Yeah.
a delamination. Okay,
Okay.
and
Okay.
comes out of hollowness.
Right.
So
Okay.
this problem primarily is because of the mortar. One is the quality of the mortar,
Mm.
the way the tile is being, laid, you
Right.
know
Yes.
and also, I mentioned in my last session
Right.
that there is a need for the mortar, to be made, retard the mortar, because it should
Right.
not dry out very quickly.
Yes.
So people don't use any retarders in the bedding
Mortar.
mortar.
Okay.
Then second aspect is that this mortar should not be pervious, because
Mm, okay.
many a times people are using, paper joints, and
Right.
when we don't generally mop the floor, we sometimes wash the floor, unlike
Right.
in the foreign countries.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so the water will go inside
Mm,
and it will go through the porous mortar. So
okay.
it should be ensured that this mortar is as dense as possible.
Okay.
And there's a good practice. I don't know why it is not being used. It is recommended to use air entraining agents, in
Okay.
this mortar, so which makes this mortar impervious.
All
So
right.
air entraining agents was a very common practice in mortars in earlier times, but generally, for whatever reasons, people have stopped using them.
Okay.
But certainly, they will make the mortar completely impervious and reduce the chances of leakages also.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so and then use of spacers,
Yeah,
very
like you
important,
mentioned.
the
Yes.
right size of spacers.
Mm.
So all these things will help in better workmanship.
Okay, interesting. The other aspect of workmanship is also a concept that we at CQRA have dealt with also earlier. It's called deskilling. So, how does deskilling kind of play a very important role in terms of workmanship in a time, especially when things are getting, more.
Labor is getting scarce,
Yes, labor is.
skilled
Yes.
labor is not
And
available,
even a certain sort of automation or
is needed.
intensive use of tools in the construction industry, not making it very, labor intensive as such.
So a lot of tools are available these days, but
Hmm.
awareness level is very low.
Okay.
Okay, so right from if you want to cut the tiles, you
Hmm.
don't need those grinder based tools. There are some very nice fine cutting tools, which will cut the tile efficiently without noise.
Okay.
Then there are simple things like good quality trowels with proper notches. They should be
Okay.
used. For mixing the tile adhesive, power trowels are there. Power tools are there, so
Right.
they
Okay.
can mix it very well. So all these things make the process very efficient.
Hmm.
Then when you're lifting the tiles, these is you're having very large tiles.
Yes.
Okay, and when you're placing that tile, it becomes very difficult to place it at and maintain the flatness.
Yeah. It's a
And if
challenge.
you drop the tile, it is so expensive.
Yes.
So there are very good suction based lifting tools available,
Hmm.
to lift the tile and to lay it
Yes.
exactly in position.
Right.
Then when you are adjusting the tile corners,
Hmm.
you don't want a protruding edge.
Definitely not.
So
Yes.
you need all the corners exactly at the same level.
Hmm.
So there are some good clips and wedges available,
All
so
right.
to make it exactly in plane.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
these are some of the things that will speed up the work, improve the workmanship. So I think people should be using these tools.
Right, that's a very important addition that I think developers need to make in their scope of work. And also on quality dialogue, since we are not only talking about material but also processes. So my, to sum it up, the kind of last question that I want to ask you is, how can we make, the process of procurement of tiles, watertight, and pay attention to the quality aspect in terms of processes?
So I would
Mhm.
say that it starts with selection of the right material.
Okay.
As I mentioned, there are different grades. Different grades have
Mhm.
different material properties
Right.
in terms of scratch hardness, in terms of your water absorption,
Hmm.
porosity, in
Right.
terms of the stain resistance. So and slip resistance, very very
Yeah.
important.
Yes.
So you have to first specify the right material.
Hmm.
Then next part is that I find at many places the purchase orders given don't spell out the technical specification of the tiles,
Ah, okay.
and so you have to do that. And
Right.
before selection of the material, you have to look at the technical data sheet. you
Hmm.
know they have a technical data sheet that mentions all these properties, what standards it is complying,
Right.
and based on that you should give your PO.
Okay.
And lastly, when the material arrives at your
Hmm.
site,
Hmm.
then there should be a process of visual inspection, verification,
Right.
your audits. We do these
Yes.
audits and we find a lot of gaps over there.
Mm,
Whatever
yes.
is ordered and whatever is actually
Hmm.
arriving, there's a gap.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so that needs to be checked, and
Hmm.
once you get it, you should also do some portion of testing, laboratory testing.
Okay.
So that gives you the real confidence that the product will last for at least 20-25 years.
Right. Right. So these are really important aspects that you've mentioned here, which I believe often do get overlooked on the construction site when everybody's racing to kind of keep the budgets and kind of adhere to the timelines as well. But these processes like inspections, quality audits always are something that will always enhance the quality of the end product. So it's right
Absolutely.
now we're talking about tiles, but it is part of the entire project, and that's what enhances the brand value. And ultimately, we have a
Better
project
product,
and a
more
bit,
lasting product.
yes, which makes the end user happy. That customer satisfaction is should be the ultimate aim. So thank you, Mr. Kunte. That
Thank you so
was
much.
an amazing sort of lowdown on the entire aspects of quality related to tiles. So I hope you had a very interesting session and a interesting time listening to all of this. Stay tuned for more of CQRA Quality Dialogues.